Morgan's Cowpoke Haven, established 1898. Ah, this is an old store. This is Ellsworth, Nebraska. And this, just a little small settlement. This store's been here for a long time, though.
Hello. How's it going?
Looks like it has everything you need.
$500 fine if you get caught doing that. I hope that it is. I don't think it is. Should be. That's every bit as dangerous as somebody drunk. Oh, I know. Oh, yeah. I'll go see it. I'll be back.
Yeah.
It's our kind of store.
This picture right under there, that's of the town here. And probably, I suppose, about the turn of the century, probably. 1900. This is in the 20s. You can tell it's poor looking, you know. And that's at Marie Sandoz right there.
Yeah.
So the book that she started with was Old Jules, right?
Right.
Okay, this right here is a letter that Old Jules wrote to the bank of Lakeside. Lakeside just is 8 miles up here.
Oh, wow.
That is Old Jules wrote a letter to the bank to borrow some money. So that's Old Jules writing. Look how good he can write for, you'd think he'd be an old rough guy, but by God, he could write pretty good. He was a smart man. He was an educated man. So. Oh, I just thought it was kind of cool.
Well, this is very cool. Thanks for pointing it out, because we just stopped at the highway marker up the highway here.
The balloons?
Well, beyond that, for the I didn't stop at the balloons one. You can tell me about that, but the one for Marie Sandoz up there,
right.
That one.
Yeah, you did stop there.
We did stop there.
So you had a little bit of knowledge of what I was telling you there.
What's the thing about the balloons? What was that? I saw it as I drove by.
Japs. In World War II, those Japs were sending them balloons over here.
Oh, this is where one landed? I remember reading about that.
A couple of them landed. They blew up when they hit. Those balloons actually did kill a few people in the United States. But they didn't want them to know. They shut this country down.
Oh, yeah.
So nobody in, nobody out. They didn't want them to know how far they'd advanced, you know, and where they was landing. So they had a trajectory figured out. It was just luck of the draw when they sent them up there.
I remember reading about one that came down in Oregon, but I didn't know that one came down here or some came down here.
Yeah.
I thought that was an oddity, the one in Oregon.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't want them to know they made it this far, you know, at all, because then they'd have a trajectory figured out, or that's what they was trying to do, you know.
Yeah, interesting.
And
oh,
now,
yeah, that's right. If we
now
would,
they're sending balloons again.
Yeah, this time from China.
Yeah, it's China balloons though now. Yeah,
that's right. If the United
why didn't they shoot that down?
If the United States would have reported that a balloon from Japan had landed and hit a certain spot, then Japan could have modified where they released them from.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think they had any steering on that.
No.
Trajectory.
Just with the luck of the wind. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was just to terrorize the population back then. Yeah.
Well, to kill people.
Yeah.
They was going to put anthrax on there and everything else, you know.
Oh, so. That I didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Nice stop, huh?
Really nice.
Those folks inside were so nice, and to give us history like that, you know, as you travel, it's not so much about the places as it is about the people. And
yeah, it's about the people.
Yeah, the people make a place. So it pays to travel slower and talk to some folks. When we did our sailing, when Linda and I sailed across the ocean and we sailed to various places, We did it that way so we would have more time to get to know the people of the places that we visited. Because if you just fly in on an airliner and stay in a hotel and eat at the tourist spots, you're not going to get to know a place. But if you can find a way to get out and actually talk to the people that live in a particular location, you're going to learn a lot. These folks were wonderful. While I was in there, I also replaced my worn-out knife sharpener, which I've had for years. I bought this one from the man. It's made by Mossberg, and it's got a medium side and a super fine side. Perfect. Also, it was nice to give the man some business, too.
We were in northwestern Nebraska, driving on the blue highways, and we came across this historical marker. And it's about an author that Rick and I, and probably a lot of you have read her books. Mari Sandoz, 1896 to 1966. Wow. This is the country of Mari Sandoz, historian, novelist, teacher, who brought its history and its people to life in her many books, articles, and stories. She was born in Sheridan County, Nebraska. Although she lived much of her life in the East, she's buried here in her own West. Mari Sandoz was first famed for Old Jules, 1935, the story of her father and other settlers who came to the upper Niobrara region in the late 19th century. Her greatest achievement is a series of 6 related books on life as it developed with Indian and white man in the trans-Missouri country. The Beavermen, Crazy Horse, Cheyenne Autumn, The Buffalo Hunters, The Cattlemen, and Old Jules. In these and a dozen other volumes, she presented the drama of man on the Great Plains more completely, accurately, and vividly than anyone before her had done. Mari Sandoz was internationally known as a chronicler of the West and as an expert on Indian history. Her own aim was to understand all of life by understanding this one part of it, how man shaped the Plains country and how it shaped him.
Well, I'm just filling a water jug here. The thing about traveling through areas like central Nebraska or Montana or other states where it's real sparsely populated is this time of year, this is the 3rd week of April, when you go to the city parks, county parks, the water faucets are still all turned off. And the only one other place to get water, of course, is Walmart, but they're few and far between. We haven't seen a Walmart in 2 days. So we always plan on filling water in streams and lakes where we can. That's what's going on here today. This is the rechargeable lithium battery Itehil reverse osmosis water system. This filters everything out. So for emergency situation or for camping, this battery operated rechargeable water filter is fantastic. And we've been using this one now for about a year, and I don't travel without it. And it recharges on USB, so it's really easy to recharge it. But for just emergency use, and if you're hiking, you can just use a hiking water filter. It's not going to filter out chemicals, but it will filter out the bacteria. What I've been using for that is this is one by Membrane Solutions, and I featured this in a video quite a while back. This is pretty handy though. It's got this big water container on it that's really easy to fill. You hang this up filled full of lake water or stream water, and then the other end goes into a whatever water container that you want filtered water into. This is really nice because it just does it. You just hang it up and just wait. I always carry one though in my backpack. There's always a water filter in here, and I'll show you what I'm using for that, so that anytime you're out hiking you can get water. So for removing bacteria, giardia, things like that, this makes the water perfectly safe to drink. You're not worried, you know, mountain lakes and streams, you're not worried about chemicals so much, so don't ask me if it removes fluoride, it doesn't matter. It's for hiking, you know, and it's for survival. for those situations you might find yourself in, broken down car, lost in the woods, something like that. But I carry the smaller one in my backpack. I'll show it to you. This is the smaller filter, and this one is designed to basically, you can fill this with lake water, stream water, and this will just screw right on the top of this bottle. You probably, if you're a hiker, you know all about this. There are other companies on the market. I like this one, but and this could be contaminated water down in here, and you just squeeze it and drink it. But one thing I like about it is it actually comes with these bags here I'm going to show you, because this is big and bulky. But it comes with these. Now you can order this with 2 bags, 4 bags, 6 bags. You can order it any way you want it. But basically all this is contaminated water. Now I guarantee you this water here is full of microorganisms. If you looked at it underneath a microscope, it would be crawling with microorganisms. But once it comes through the filter, there's nothing left in it. It removes 99.9999999% of everything, and the water that comes out of this is safe to drink. You just squeeze it out. So it's cool because I can take these pouches, fill them with water, and stuff them anywhere in my backpack. So yeah, anyways, this is Membrane Solutions. They did send me this one with the 4 bags, but I like it enough that I bought Linda one just like it, so she carries that in her pack too. So we each have one. And this replaces a one that I was carrying before that was really hard to drink from. This one's not. Oh, another thing is, you can dip this straight into a stream and just drink right out of this like a straw. You can do that too if you want. So, but I like having the bags too. Of course, when these are empty, they fold down to nothing. So you can store them in your backpack really easy. That's what I liked about this system. But you should have a water filter with you at all times. That's what's in my kit. Well, this is where we ended up. This is McCook, Nebraska, almost to Kansas in central Nebraska. In fact, we'll be in Kansas another hour or so. And then we're going to continue to head on east. Hey, Linda, what's the name of this campground?
Karrer.
K-A-R-R-E-A-R?
Karrer Park. It's a, back in the old days, they had tourist parks for travelers. That's why it's right next to the highway, and it's got all the amenities. That's what this is.
Yeah, so it's real noisy because it's right by the highway, but it's free donation. And I guess in the warmer months, they actually have a bathroom and showers that are open.
Right.
They're closed now.
Right over there. There's only a few sites, but they have cement pads and a picnic table and bench.
Free electricity, no sewer hookups, but can't have everything for free. I'll show you around just a little bit here because we're going to get in the car and get on our way.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, it's noisy, but look at these spots. It's a very pretty little place. And during the night, it wasn't that noisy. Things kind of settled down quite a bit. During the day, it's pretty loud here, but other than that, it's all right. Well, like I said, we're going to get back on the road now, and we're heading east still. We plan on being somewhere in Missouri this evening. Not sure where. It's going to be somewhere east of St. Joe. After that, I don't know. This tree is getting ready to let go. Woohoo! It's going to be beautiful. Well, we just stopped in Smith Center, Kansas, and we've actually been here before. We stayed at the city park, camped there one night, and I got to tell you that early in the morning, we get a knock on the door.
Early in the morning.
Early. And we thought it was the cops because there was nothing telling us that we couldn't spend the night there, but nothing indicating that we could. But we actually had a very nice night. But I answered the door, and it was a young fella and his wife. His name was Tyson.
Hi, Tyson.
In case you're watching, Tyson, sorry we're not stopping by to visit you, but Tyson took us out to his place, and we got to shoot air guns out there, and these were air rifles that were very potent.
Amazing.
Amazing, and Linda got to shoot too, and we're talking a 400-yard air rifle. So yeah, we're talking really potent, and we had a good time. The thing about it is, I remember the apples growing in his front yard. His tree was loaded with apples. He also had marijuana plants like 12 feet tall. He wasn't growing them. They grow like weeds out here, and they say you can't smoke it, but you're not allowed to cut them down either. So,
I have pictures of that you can put in this video if you want.
Yeah, I'll try to find them and do that. Anyways, still on our way to Missouri. Hope to make it by this evening. But we stopped here at the Jiffy Burger to get some lunch. Now the Jiffy Burger here is packed. There's a lot of vehicles, both out front and in the back, so it must be pretty good. Kind of reminds me of hamburger stands from a long time ago. Price is right too. It was only $13.40 for all of that. Did you realize that?
Yeah. And it was way better than any fast food burgers.
I know, it had big slice of tomato and everything, and the
tomato was ripe.
Yeah. It was pretty.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was very good.
You ready to head down the road?
Yes.
All right, let's hit it.
Okay.
One of the interesting things about this area is that the towns aren't on the highway. You turn off and the towns are like a half mile back, like on a section of land that's back off the highway. It's different for sure. You'd expect them to be right along the highway, and some of them are, or most of them are, I guess, but then others are just not. They're totally separate from the highway itself. Well, we've been driving across the northern part of Kansas now all day. We've driven past the birthplace of Home on the Range, you know the song. We've driven past a Pawnee Village and a Pawnee Museum. We had a great lunch at Smith Corner? Smith Center, yeah. But now what I really need is a cup of coffee. So I'm hoping to find a cup of coffee somewhere on this highway. There's coffee and then there's coffee. For example, in parts of the West, you have Maverick service stations, and when you go in there to get coffee, so many of them, you push a button and it grinds the beans at the time and makes your cup of coffee one by one like that. It's very good. Other places, like we stopped for coffee yesterday afternoon, and it was so weak, it was about half strength coffee. Not that I like it super strong, but this was really watery stuff, and you know, it's just tough to find a good cup of coffee on the road, but right now I'd settle for just about anything. And then there's the coffee that tastes like brewed cardboard, my favorite. Yeah. Well, that worked out. Casey's gas stations are good. They have the grind your own in there too, and there's, I don't know, 6 or 8 different coffees you could choose from. What did you get?
I got the Colombian.
And I got the dark Brazilian. Anyways, they both taste really good. It's all right. Well, this is a state wildlife sanctuary place here in Kansas, but we just pulled back in. We're kind of tucked off the road here. This is a dead end. It's a turnaround. There is signs that other people have camped here. So this is it for the night. But that's the way it is when you're traveling cross country and looking for free spots to camp for the night. Because you know, when you camp in like an RV park, that's too spendy for us. Can't do that. But we managed pretty well. You know, we just did 2 months in Arizona, and our camping fees were zero. We didn't pay anything to camp in 2 months. It's pretty easy though when you're boondocking on public land. Not so easy when you're traveling cross country. What you run into this way is city parks that allow camping. There's quite a few. County parks, those can be nice. Fairgrounds are another good possibility. Wildlife management areas, a lot of them allow camping. That's what we expected to find here. I don't think anybody's going to bother us back in here. This is pretty lightly traveled, if at all. let me show you what our plan was, because the other thing is that everybody's been warning us about tornadoes, and believe me, we've been studying it since a month ago. We've been watching storm patterns down here, and this year there's been severe tornadoes going through the south and the southeast. What we discovered was most of the storms are forming down here in the eastern part of Texas, and they're traveling like this. And man, they've been bad. There's been severe tornadoes down through here. Almost everything's been doing this. So what we did on our trip is we've been kind of holding to the north, and we're getting down into here to later on in a couple of days, and we're going to cut across this perpendicular. We'll also be watching the weather really careful and making sure that there's nothing severe coming our way. The one thing we are seeing is that we're going to get into rain, sometimes heavy, going through this area, because we're heading down here into central Florida. But it is pretty here. The sound of the birds is really nice. It's going to be real quiet here tonight. Hey, listen, tomorrow or the day after, we're hitting St. Joseph, Missouri. There are some really interesting things to see there, such as...
Oh, the house that Jesse James was shot in.
Yep.
You can see the bullet hole in the wall.
Yep.
And the beginning of the Pony Express, the very barn, I guess, that they left from.
Yeah, you can go into the very barn where the Pony Express started. It's a museum now, and like she said, the doors they rode out on their very first run and continued. Yep. Starts right there in St. Joseph. And what else, dear?
What else?
There's a really cool museum with a really cool locomotive that you got to see. And there's the insane asylum.
Oh, yeah, that was scary.
That's a video in itself. Stay tuned for those. Those are coming up. See you around.